When Ruth Scully first noticed her 3-year-old son, Nolan, snoring loudly at night, she assumed it was just a typical childhood cold. As fall temperatures dropped, a stuffy nose seemed like a reasonable explanation for his breathing difficulties. Being the attentive mother she was, Ruth took Nolan to their pediatrician when his symptoms persisted. The doctor diagnosed a sinus infection, prescribing antibiotics and suggesting a saline spray, along with a humidifier for Nolan's bedroom. Despite Ruth's diligent adherence to these recommendations, Nolan's condition worsened. Concerned by his increasingly labored breathing, Ruth quickly scheduled an appointment with an ear, nose, and throat specialist. The specialist discovered enlarged adenoids, tissue located near the tonsils, that helps fight infections in young children. While adenoid removal is a common pediatric procedure, what followed was anything but routine. A routine biopsy of Nolan's removed tissue delivered devastating news. The little boy had rhabdomyosarcoma, a rare cancer that attacks soft tissues. Due to the tumor's location, surgery wasn't an option. Doctors recommended an aggressive treatment plan, hopeful they could at least prevent the cancer from spreading further. Almost overnight, the Scully family's life transformed into an endless series of hospital visits, tests, and treatments at Georgetown University Hospital's Pediatric Cancer Clinic. For 43 grueling weeks, Nolan endured chemotherapy. The harsh treatments left him exhausted, nauseated, and eventually without his hair, a particularly difficult loss for the little boy. Despite these challenges, Nolan remained determined to kick cancer's butt, showing remarkable resilience that belied his young age. Adding to the family's emotional complexity, Ruth was pregnant with another child during Nolan's treatment. While preparing to welcome new life, she faced the heartbreaking possibility of losing her son. The family, including Nolan's father, Jonathan, and older sister Leela, struggled to balance their collective needs while supporting Nolan's fight against cancer. Looking for ways to channel their emotions and build a support network, the Scullys created a Facebook page called Nolan Strong. The page became much more than they anticipated, growing to over 300,000 followers who rallied behind the courageous little boy. Through photos, updates, and video clips, they shared Nolan's journey, creating a platform that would later help other families facing similar battles. During one hospital stay, Nolan received a visit that lifted his spirits immensely. The local police chief appointed him Sergeant Roland Nolan, complete with a special walkie-talkie for reporting to duty. Not to be outdone, the town's fire department inducted him as an honorary member. These gestures meant the world to Nolan, who dreamed of becoming both a police officer and firefighter. Despite his illness, Nolan experienced moments of childhood joy, visiting the harbor, shooting hoops with the Washington Mystics, and attending Jurassic Quest, where he delighted in seeing his beloved dinosaurs up close. But cancer continued its relentless advance. After completing his initial chemotherapy regimen, tests revealed the cancer cells remained dangerously active. In October 2016, Nolan underwent a grueling 12-hour surgery to remove the tumor and repair the damage it had caused. He spent his last Christmas in the hospital, but still remembered to leave cookies for Santa, clinging to childhood wonder despite his circumstances. After consulting with Nolan's oncologist, Ruth faced the most difficult conversation of her life. She sat down with her son, acknowledging his pain and struggle. "You're in a lot of pain, aren't you, baby?" "Yes," Nolan admitted. "Poot," she said, using his nickname, "this cancer stuff sucks so much, but you don't have to fight anymore." Nolan's response broke her heart. "I don't, but I will for you, Mommy." "Is that what you've been doing, fighting for Mommy?" Ruth asked through tears. "Well, of course, Mommy. You're my best girl. I'll do anything for you," he replied. Ruth then asked, "What is Mommy's job?" "To keep me safe," Nolan answered without hesitation. With profound sadness, Ruth explained that while she could no longer keep him safe from cancer in his earthly body, she could ensure his safety in heaven. Showing wisdom far beyond his years, Nolan understood. He thanked her and promised to play in heaven until she joined him there. In his final days, Ruth rarely left Nolan's side, often crawling into bed to comfort him. On his last day, while Ruth stepped away briefly to shower, Nolan slipped into unconsciousness. The medical team surrounded him when she returned, explaining that his right lung had collapsed, making breathing increasingly difficult. They assured her that at least in sleep, he wasn't feeling pain. When Ruth touched the side of his head, something remarkable happened. Nolan opened his eyes one last time. Recognizing his mother, he smiled and whispered, "I love you." As Ruth began singing, "You Are My Sunshine," Sergeant Roland Nolan Scully passed away at 11:54 p.m., just shy of midnight. He was only 4 years old. Before his passing, Nolan had worked with his mother to plan his own memorial service. He requested everyone wear their Nolan Strong shirts or, if they didn't have one, dress in red, his favorite color. The police department and fire brigade honored their youngest member with a procession befitting a hero. His small coffin traveled to its final resting place on a fire truck, led by a procession of emergency vehicles with sirens blaring. The Nolan Strong Facebook page continues today, celebrating his remarkable spirit while raising awareness for childhood cancer and funds for other families facing similar battles. Though Nolan's time was tragically brief, his legacy endures through the lives he touched and the inspiration he continues to provide. In his short life, Nolan Scully showed extraordinary courage, compassion, and wisdom. He reminds us that heroism isn't measured by years lived, but by the depth of heart shown in the face of insurmountable odds. For everyone who knew him, and the hundreds of thousands who came to know his story, Nolan embodied what it means to be truly strong.